Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? This is So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey Patreon edition. I wanted to do a Q&A for you guys, and this is that. So let's get into all of this. I've been thinking a lot about this weekend, and I purposely didn't record anything yesterday so I could take the day off. But you don't really take the day. You don't take the day off when you're working the Vanderpump beat. I'll tell you that much. If you're watching this on video, this is going to be video and audio, you guys. You can see my TT, my Tom Tom hat. Tom Sandoval gave me this hat last January when I did that interview with him. I still can't bring myself to go back and listen to it because I just know how I was fawning. I was like a little girl with a school crush, man. I was like, "Woo, Tom, you're amazing!" And it just goes to show how life can change on a dime, right? Let's get into. By the way, oh my God, you guys, it's daylight savings time, so I lost an hour already. So I'm already waking up a loser. But then I'm truly an old man now. Like, I got wine drunk last night, which that's not the old man part. And, I drank a couple beers at the Billy Joel concert on Friday, which was great, but okay, first off, I'm walking with a cane because of my damn knee. And it was really hard to get around. It was like rainy and I'm like in a cane, like, ugh. But I really, my knee hurt the most it's hurt, on Friday night. And then luckily on Tuesday, I got approved finally with my insurance to go back to the orthopedist and get this surgery going or whatever they recommend. But I know it's going to be surgery. It just sucks because we're getting into like nice hiking weather, whether it be in Los Angeles or Arizona. They both have great hikes. And it's like, that's one of my only forms of exercise. I've been trying to go back to the trainer and we just do upper body. But working out's miserable already. But this even makes it more miserable. And you're just like, my God, all I'm doing is just sitting on I sit on my butt so much because of this already. And now I have to sit and lay down even more. And by the way, thank you to Kate Legayco. She got me this amazing thing that I can put my leg in. So it like elevates my leg and knee when I'm watching TV. It's like I just elevate my old leg in this big cushion. It's so sad. Anyways, last night I got wine drunk, right? Nothing wrong with that. I was watching Saturday Night Live and I hated it. I feel like I've like completely aged out. The show is not funny at all. Like there's like 3 moments you laugh at. And I don't know why I do it to myself where I watch it still every week. And it's like, I think I've got to stop. I think I've got to make a decision for my overall health, which is not unlike a decision Katie Maloney made for herself in divorcing Tom Schwartz, which I want to talk about too, because I think it's really interesting with all of the stuff that we know now looking back. And I think I personally, I think you guys would as well, really understand what Katie had to do. And in retrospect, she did it at the right time. Because I was reading more about Ariana and Tom's finances, and that there's like these tax liens on that house that Ariana has not paid supposedly from 2019. And I just think Katie got out at the right time, Imagine Katie being tied down to Schwartz's potentially bad decisions, Because Schwartz and Sandy's, it's fine. I went on Thursday night with that Washington Post reporter, which, by the way, the Washington Post article came out on Friday. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but I really felt so guilty about being there. But like I said on the show on Friday, I just feel guilty all the time regardless anyway, so whatever. And it wasn't like everybody there seemed nice. The service was it's just weird. I didn't know exactly how. It wasn't, everybody seemed nice working there, but I was just a little confused. I didn't know you had to order at the bar now. They didn't have waiters going around. They just had servers because it's not that big of a place. But I just can't imagine overall how this is all going to pan out for them business-wise. I think their behavior, and I'll include Schwartz in this, is just some of the stupidest that I've seen in so long. But it's this thing. And by the way, I'm just going to take my time with this. I hope you guys are okay. I'll get to everybody's question. But I'm just warming up and talking to you guys before I watch the Oscars red carpet Oh my God, it's already 1:41, man. Well, it's 12:41, really. Oh yeah. So, anyways, watched SNL. God, all over the. Watched SNL, and I fell asleep. I think around 12, and I woke up at 3, which was actually 2, because the kids next door were throwing a party, I guess, and I mean it was like dung dung dung, like the music, and I mean just people out on their balcony, just and I was up for like 3 hours. And you can't do anything with those 3 hours because, let me remind you, I was wine drunk. And a wine drunk, when you wake up without like little sleep from a wine drunk, like you're just like dazed. And I mean, they were partying until like 7 in the morning. And I was like, wow, cocaine is a hell of a drug. And then finally, I was so, because I was like, I got to get some sleep. And so I finally took 2 Tylenol PM at like 6 p.m. I think that kicked in at around 8 or something, and finally got a couple more hours of sleep. But I just thought, man, I'm an angry old man. I'm just angry at these kids making noise. Shakes proverbial fist in the sky. So back to Schwartz and Sandy, I think they're just, for anybody that is still saying this is staged or made up, like I don't know how I can tell you guys any more clear than this that it is not staged or made up. What could be potentially staged is how Sandoval has been living his life for the last while. Is that I think there are certain elements of that is staged so he could keep things from Ariana in the show. I also want to let you guys know, because I did, listen, I don't trust anything I see anymore. So, and I've been wrong about a couple of things, and it shocked me. But I do want to let you know, because I saw another rumor going around about production knowing, and I will tell you, production didn't know. They knew later on, and they obviously know now, but they did not know throughout the season. But what I keep hearing from inside sources is you will see this play out in the sense of there is some suspicion about Rachel's behavior, and I think about Tom's behavior as well. I don't know if anybody actually puts those two things together at any point in the season that was filmed before the new stuff. But I think now what I'm hearing when you look back at the stuff that is already going to be in these shows, it'll make a lot more sense. Or it makes a lot more sense to production now, now that they know. I hope that's clear. I know that might be a little confusing, but listen, Schwartz did a TMZ, and I'll probably talk about this on the main show as well tomorrow. Schwartz did a TMZ interview at the airport at LAX, which I do believe he is going to Winter House. Sandoval, I think, is if he goes, it's not going to be until later in the week. But Schwartz, definitely, I believe that's where he was headed towards. Now, he did like a 4-minute interview at the airport, a walk and talk. And, this is where you also got to get suspicious too. So Backgrid is a photo agency company that usually like the Kardashians use. They're very chummy with celebrities. Celebrities will tip them off. They'll be able to, and then Backgrid will sell it to the highest bidder, usually like TMZ, Daily Mail. Like there's a lot of bidders on these things. So to me, this was, to me, this is a staged kind of thing. I think Schwartz was very aware he was going to get interviewed at the airport. And by the way, Schwartz is very affable and nice and all that stuff anyways. And there's also a difference. I keep thinking about this because I keep thinking about my own behavior as a dude. And, is that we can be nice and affable, but what I've got to make sure of is that I'm also making the right decisions when it comes down to big things. It's not enough to be nice and affable. Like Schwartz, one of the nicer guys you would probably ever bump into. Sandoval too. If you bumped into them at Tom or Schwartz, they'd be like glad to take a picture with you, have a little bit of a small talk with you, and you'd walk away from that experience thinking they were the cat's pajamas, right? Like I've seen it happen time and time again. And by the way, they genuinely do like interacting with fans. But then I was just thinking, and I was actually DMing with Katie Maloney about this. when it comes to those big things, they fail miserably. They fail miserably. The easy things they're really good at. And they're really charming. They're really all of that stuff. And I don't think that in their heads they're walking around going, I'm fucking evil. But I mean, there's huge, horrible lapses in judgment there. And with Sandoval, the reason it is so even more like so devilish is that this really was going on for so long. I was talking to somebody else that is in their friend group, and we were talking, and saying like, hey, I'm going back and trying to look like every experience that I've had with them and kind of now look at it with different eyes, because that's how well this was hidden, was that, a lot of people are just, truly still shocked within that friend group. And I'm even talking about the friend group that is not on television with them, the friend group. And I'm not to say Ariana and Tom did not have issues like most relationships do. Not to say they didn't get annoyed with each other. I mean, I've seen Ariana go, come on, Tom. Like, I've seen those things go down, but like, I've also been in relationships where it's been the same thing, And I never read this as toxic. I never read that as that. But for Tom to, I just keep thinking, how was Tom, because I got really nervous yesterday, and that's when I started asking some people with more inside knowledge than I do, because I got really nervous thinking that production knew about this and they were actually filming scenes with Tom and Rachel cheating without letting Ariana know. And I was like, that would be the darkest ever if production knew and they were filming sneaking around and it's on the show, but Ariana didn't know and the production didn't tell Ariana. I was like, that was going to be, I was like really getting scared. And that's why I finally go, hey guys, did you people in production, did you know that? And so I was assured that they did not. And there is like limits with even what they'll do to try to capture things and stuff like that. And so that was comforting to me. Let's start getting to, but anyways, sorry. The short thing, the walk and talk, it was a 4-minute thing. I posted it on my Instagram, and I think a lot of other people did as well. And you can watch the full interview over at TMZ. But Backgrid, it says Backgrid on there. And Tom, there's a couple things in it that's weird. Tom is like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, I guess the last time I talked to you was like the divorce. So he seems to know this guy in some way. I mean, my overall thought is just like, dude, I hope you're not making money off this, but I do know somebody's making money off this. So that video was sold. So did Tom get cut in on that? Like what? And it also worried me now is like, is Sandoval, because Sandoval used to make business moves for the Tom, and that was talked about on the show. But really, even when I talked to him, I remember this wasn't even on the show. I remember talking to him in his backyard area, and he was like, dude, like I put so much money on that table, man. I do all of these events and I make sure Tom's a part of it. And, so part of me is like, man, I hope Sandoval didn't arrange this, or I hope Schwartz didn't arrange this. Like, and like, I guess you got to get your money when you get your money. But if anybody should be making money off of any of this, it should be Ariana. And you might like, oh, money, shmoney. But like, listen, people are making money off of this. I always feel like it should go to the person that it potentially hurts the most. Call me crazy. And I know Ariana's at a wedding, I think, in Mexico this weekend that she had already planned and was, and I'm shocked, but she still went, and I'm hoping nobody like publishes photos or anything like that or sells anything from that. But the thing is, the person that I want to hear from the most is Ariana, and I don't think she'll do it, or not yet, at least. From what my understanding was, is that she wasn't going to be putting out a statement, and she was going to just let everybody else do their thing and kind of speak for her. But I just keep thinking, man, if we're at a point where these people are making money off this, I just want Ariana to be the first in line to make some money off of this. And by the way, thank you guys so much for being a part of the Baddie group. It's great. We had so many new subscribers. And hey, listen, you guys might go because after the Vanderpump thing, who knows? But thank you for being here right now. Remember, we do full Summer House recaps on here as well of the new season, which, speaking of Summer House, I'm starting to hear some rumblings. I mean, you've heard these rumblings for a while since the Dumois post, but something with Kyle and Amanda might not be right now. And it was pointed out to me that Kyle showed up for Winter House, but Amanda wasn't with Kyle in the photos that were given to Dumois, I believe. And Amanda posted with her friends on her story, so she might still be in New York. I listen. I hope this isn't another one of those things. I will say I tagged Amanda in an Instagram story because I was drinking a Loverboy hard tea on Wednesday, and I wanted to, because they sent me a sweatshirt and some Loverboy tea, so I wanted to tag her. But I also do think it's like really good design work. So I tagged her and she just wrote back, "I love you," which was very, nice of her. But I just, then when you start thinking about, I love how we add all of these like stories and all that. It might be nothing, but then you're just like, okay. So I said, "What a good design of this." She said, "I love you." Like maybe like her and Kyle are like, almost broken up and she needs support, or maybe that's why she's not going to be at Winter House, or hell, maybe she's pregnant. Who knows? I just get worried that I think any of these guys, I mean, and guys in general, I hate to, but it just feels like we're all a bit of trash. Like the guys, like we're not meaning to be mean or evil, but we turn out to do some really horrendous things because we're not able to face hard conversations. I don't know. I keep thinking so much about this, as you guys have as well. So let's get to some of your questions. I love that it's like 2:00 and I'm still like drowsy from the Tylenol PM I took. So many people have questions. This is awesome. Okay, Vicky Adams writes, "I think it was all an open secret. That being said, I had the thought that LVP offered them their 5% back, not as an act of altruism, but an attempt to remove them as a potential liability to her biz. Also, not feeling why anyone makes a big deal out of Raquel's name change. It's actually smart for public persona. It's like a DBA in business." Okay, so yeah, the Raquel Rachel thing, I don't really, everybody hops on that, like even Sandra and like, but I mean, guys, a lot of people change their names, I mean, in so many ways in Hollywood. Like when I first was in, when I first moved to Hollywood and was in the Screen Actors Guild, I couldn't go as Ryan Bailey, because there was another Ryan Bailey already in Screen Actors Guild. So my official name in the Screen Actors Guild is Ryan Kyler Bailey. And, Kyler is my actual middle name. So I go by, sometimes if you see me in anything and you see the credits, I believe it'll say like Ryan Kyler Bailey a lot of the times. So, and that was just because of that. But also, I remember first moving to Hollywood and thinking Ryan Bailey was kind of a stupid name. And I was almost going to go by either Ryan Kyler or Kyler Bailey. Because Kyler, I think, is such a great name. It's my great-grandfather's name. And, I remember like I was going to do that. So the Rachel Raquel thing, I mean, now because you look at a pattern behavior of Rachel being completely a fake ass in so many ways, and a horrible person that I don't think really feels human emotions the way other people do. And Sandoval as well, if not more so, even though I don't think there's a real contest in who's evil and who's not. I mean, I can fit both of them in there, like people are like, "Oh, Rachel didn't, she's all this stuff." And like at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Like I'm not trying to pick on her, or I'm trying to pick on Sandoval, but I'm not trying to pick on her. But at the end of the day, we do have to sometimes take responsibility for things that we do drastically wrong. And if this season has shown you anything, she seems to keep making moves and things that are drastically wrong and unfeeling. Like even if you use the Katie thing of like, yeah, you might not like Katie. Katie might not be your good friend, but you see how much, like you even saw her mom put it very clearly to Rachel at the table and go, "Hey, this is the deal. They're still officially married. They're selling the house. There's a lot of emotion still going on." And that's what I said from the beginning, you guys. It's like less than a year in. And you have somebody that has now been told so many times, and she's like, "I still might want to make out with Schwartz." And I do, that's the other thing, but I'm not... I want to preface this as saying, like, I could be wrong again, but I kept hearing this has been going on for 7 months, but now I'm even questioning that. Like, maybe this was going on longer. Like, so I was at Coachella with them in April of last year, and I just didn't see it. I mean, we were all, like, fucked up. We were all, like, around each other, but I remember Raquel hanging out with Jesse Metcalf, who's worked at Surf Forever, and, like, like, she was around, but like so was Sheena and Brock, and so was I mean, it was all this little group. Then they were running in and out. Like I remember going to the porta potties with Sandoval and Billy Lee at one point, and like I remember, but I saw Tom be close with everybody. Like I remember we went off to dance in a dance tent, and it was like me, my friend Megan, and Tom and Ariana and Logan, and but not Raquel, not Rachel was with us, and like I remember that, like watching Tom and Ariana like make out. Like not, I was like, yeah, I wasn't like watching like that, but I remember going, oh, that's so sweet. Like they were there. That's what I'm saying. And like I don't know if that was his thing too. Like was he in love with two people at once? I don't know what he's going to end up saying or what he's going to end up making up or trying to rationalize. But I mean, if he was dating Raquel, and if I was to look at any behavior from Coachella, that would mean he was dating all of us, because he was just as nice to me and just as nice. Like he was putting everybody on his shoulders. Like I know there's that one photo people keep putting around of Raquel on Tom's shoulders at Life is Beautiful Festival in Vegas. And that would have been by the time they had started things. But like I knew like Tom was putting everybody on his shoulders. I remember Tom was we went and saw Arcade Fire in a tent, which was like a really cool experience. And Tom was that guy that like nicely got us to the front. And I'm a big guy, and he got us all to the front. He went and got us all drinks. He went on, like, he was just that guy that was always doing everything for everyone. And he was just wanting everybody to have the best experience. And that's what breaks my heart, because I have one of my best friends, Nick, he has almost a 2-year-old now, but like he used to be that guy for me at Coachella. Not, he was just that guy that wanted everybody to have a good time. Now, Nick, I know, has never cheated on anybody. And like, that is I still really look up to him. I don't know what it is, my thing with needing to look up to people, but I do. But yeah, that's what the hard thing. And like, I know not everybody's 100% evil. I just think this is such a big, big mistake that he did. And not like, if you can be in love with anybody you want, man, like you can be in love with Raquel, you could be in love with Sheena, you could be in love with anybody, but the way you did it and the way he hit it, and at the end of the day, it is true. Like, and also Tom does not want to make himself look bad. In fact, I think this probably is the biggest hurt of it all, is not the Ariana part. I think he's learning that he should feel bad about that. I think it's the part that we all hate him right now. And that's the part, because he never wants to look bad in that way. He wants to be looked up to. He wants to have a light shown on him. And I think, what a dummy to not realize this could potentially affect your businesses. But anyways, sorry, to this question though, the 5% back, I do, like I said this on the recaps, I don't know if you listened, but I said, this is what I was afraid of, is that she was going to try to get them to give over the TomTom stuff directly to her, because I think TomTom has made decent money. And it's like, she sees Schwartz and Sandy's like this. They're a long way from ever making money off of that place. Like, shit, man, they should have been pushing t-shirts when I was there on Thursday, and hats and all that shit. But anyways, I also still need to know if Sandoval and Schwartz got a salary on top of, because they were there at TomTom a lot. But I wonder if that was part of their 5% deal. But yeah, I thought, I don't think there was anything altruistic with Lisa doing that. I think Lisa looks out for Lisa, period. I don't think I think she cares about these people in the sense of, yeah, I care about them. But these people have made her a lot of money and has made her businesses fly. There would be no Vanderpump Paris and like Vegas and all these Vegas restaurants without the success of this show. It wouldn't have just been on her success as a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, So this afforded her a lot of opportunities. And sometimes I feel like, I've said this, I think she's insanely cheap with these people, just even her staff in general that have nothing to do with the show. And I think she's out of touch in a lot of ways. Like, I think she is fun in the going on Watch What Happens, like, Andy, well, we do dip our quill in the company ink sometimes, Andy. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, these are actual real people. And I think that's the thing I keep going back to, of like, shit, man, like, I can't believe And at the end of the day, she's like, I wouldn't invest in their sandwich shop, Ariana and Katie's. No, I don't need to invest in every. Like, you should invest in every fucking thing. You should help these people. Like, that's why I kept thinking even about the Toms. She was making fun of their business acumen. And I was like, you could have fucking helped them with their business acumen, dork, instead of now just shitting on them on national TV. But now they deserve to be shit on. Yeah, I don't care. Okay, so Vicky, that was yours. Sorry, I'm reading these emails. I got to actually get to the Patreon app because I feel like I'm reading these completely out of order. What are you guys doing today? I didn't even get to ask that. Are you guys excited for Oscars? What's going on? Let me get to the pose. Isn't this fun for you guys? I don't know how to pause on the StreamYard app yet, so I got to figure that out. Okay, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, a lot. Okay, yeah, that was Miss Scarlet. And then there was, God, me learning how to use this. How do I see the replies? It's all. Okay. Michelle Martinez Logsden. What up, Michelle? I love Michelle. Captain's Log Day 8. Can we find out where Peter got his crazy version of what went down on the night Ariana found out? I believe he shared it on the Allison Rosen podcast. Perhaps he was the one person left that Raquel can talk to, and this is what she told him. God, I have made of my full tin hat on at this point. So, Michelle, I don't know what Peter said on the Allison Rosen podcast. I like Allison a lot. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to listen to that. If you guys next time put what he said, and just in case I don't get to listen to these things, so I would love to comment on this. But I'm guessing it sounds like maybe Raquel talked to him that night. But I believe I saw a clip on Instagram of the Allison Rosen thing where he unfollowed Raquel on Instagram during the episode. I really don't think much of Raquel or Rachel, and you know, I want to get into that too, of a lot of these photos that people keep sending me. And it makes it hard for me to believe that Schwartz is only known for just a month. I mean, they had to have had their suspicions. There's too many, because there's that one thing of Rachel being at the Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras concert, I believe, in Roseville by herself. Nobody knew she was going to be there. And she told people, shh, which I've got to find those. I'm going to read this. Like, I took screenshots of this. This is damning in so many ways. Okay. This was on Pump Rules Instagram account. This is a person's account of the show Near Sacramento in November of 2022. A couple things that just were wrong. First was, and this is talking about Rachel, first was that she was trying to enter secretly. I saw her and she shhed me. I figured it was she didn't want to be rushed, so I didn't say anything. Well, whoops, I told people, but then halfway through the show I went upstairs because I'm old and needed to relax. Security was severely understaffed. I'm almost 6 foot and built like a linebacker, so I was just helping security block all the crazy girls coming over. Then I noticed that Sandoval kept looking up and singing songs to her, which caught me way the fuck off guard. Like the way he was just gesturing to her and singing Lightning in a Bottle and then marching at her during 500 miles. Like, I would walk 500 miles and I could walk 500. These are both songs, Tom, I've seen him do in concert many times. He goes, I just felt something was off. The more he sang to her, the more she started crying. The part I left off of social media is that I heard her loudly say, why won't he? Why won't he? I assumed she was crying over James, but after the news broke, it made sense that she was crying over him and him leaving Ariana. Also, the people that were with her kept looking around a lot the drunker she got. She was basically falling off the chair. The only way I got to stay up there was I never bothered her and I just took over helping security because it's just in my nature to help. So much so that the guy that was with her mouthed thank you to me. And then this other thing says, she was drunk at the Roseville show and he kept looking up and saying, this is another person saying the same. He kept looking up and singing to her. The more he sang to her, the more she started crying. I was there. Okay, this is, somebody said, I was at the one in Roseville as well. We all ignored her and I'm so glad everyone knew something was off. So this is so that's November, which would fall in the 7-month time frame. But that shows you how deep this really is. And the more and more I hear from more inside sources is this was a full blown affair. This was like, that lightning thing keeps getting brought up, but like that's fucking dark. Like he's seeing lightning in a bottle, like that they were having intimate moments where he's like, lightning is so important to me. You're my lightning, and that she was like banking on him leaving Ariana. Like she had it in her mind that this was like, it's like, you dummies. Like, fine if you love each other, but you dummies thinking that this was all going to play out in some way and like wondering if Tom really, really dug her or just kept stringing her along. Like, I don't feel bad for Rachel, but I do feel like it's another sign that this girl is not bright. Like, I don't care if she went to college. I don't care. And Tom's not bright either. And it's okay to say that people are not bright. It's okay to say that people are not making the best decisions. That's not like tearing this person down. It's saying these are really idiotic decisions that you had no foresight and you were so caught up in this moment of being secretive, of being in love, of holding on to the secret that nobody knew, and it titillated you. It obviously titillated Tom to a point that I think he truly got off on it. This is what I would rant and rave about with Tristan Thompson and Chloe, because it seemed like he got off on cheating. He got off on embarrassing her. He got off on what can he get away with without Chloe ever knowing. But Michelle, I am going to listen to this, Allison Rosen. But sometimes Peter, I've said this before, Peter is basically a good guy. I don't know if he fucks mad bitches like DJ James Kennedy said. He fucks mad bitches on that big belly. I don't know if that's true. I remember, who was it that came on the show once and had a really wild interaction with Peter and we made a show about it. It was like 3 years ago and she had video of the moment. Oh, I gotta remember what that was. But listen, I'm not going to idolize Peter either. I think all of these people are potentially bad, but Peter, I think, is basically a nice guy, hopefully. But I remember that one time when like Peter thought he was a lead on the show because he didn't really watch the show. So he thought he was on it way more than he was, which always makes me laugh. Sandra, I really want a little more of Becky and Bill's thoughts, opinion on this and Summer House, Kyle, Carl, Lindsay. I'm getting ready to see Watch What Crappens live. Sandra, you probably already saw it by now, so I hope it was amazing. Those guys are amazing. I mean, geniuses. I think I'm going to talk to Becky later today, and she will be on the podcast tomorrow on the main feed. But she does have a lot of opinions. She really is getting into the drama of it, and I think that's a way. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I know it's a way to be close to me, and I love her for that. Catherine Johnstone. Catherine's great. If Tom would agree to do a no question unanswered interview on the podcast, what would you ask him? Man, I would, first question, like, what the hell were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking? I would also ask, like, are you able, he's not going to have the foresight right now. Because the other thing is, the main question I would want to know, how did you rationalize this to yourself? Because you knew it was technically wrong, no matter even if you and Ariana were having problems. You knew it. You knew it was wrong. So how did you rationalize? Because we never we never think of ourselves usually as bad people. That's not, I sometimes will think of myself as a bad person, but most people don't. They will rationalize things to themselves so they can actually, live with themselves when they know they're doing something wrong. But that's the question. And then I would want to know details. I would want to know, because a lot of people are now like going, oh my God, was this happening back? Did he encourage DJ James Kennedy to break up with Rachel? Or Raquel to break up with DJ James Kennedy and because he had something with her. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to put anything as possible at this point, but that would just be weird because at that point, the show wasn't filming. They went to Disneyland with Raquel and James the day before they broke up, and they, Ariana and Tom, I remember that night when I was over there, Ariana was upstairs in the bedroom, but she came down a couple of times and we were laughing about things, but they were saying how shocked they were. And but I don't know. Like I wasn't even suspecting of this. I wasn't like, oh, I wonder if Tom's going to be banging. It wasn't even in my purview where I would even have thought to look for little tells. But I don't. I really do think it started about 7 months ago because they really were all hanging out so much. And the other thing is, and this just sucks because I think this is no reason to be punished, even though in the end I think Ariana will thrive in a lot of ways. The real punishment probably would have been to stay with Sandoval. But Tom would go out way more than Ariana, and Ariana went out a lot. Ariana really did go out more than God, like probably 3 or 4 times more than I go out on a given week, but he would go out a billion times more. Like he was out every night. And I think Raquel was always out there too. And I don't think at first that was because of Tom. I think she literally was trying to ingratiate herself in this friend group. I think she completely is lost as a person. I think it is more fun for some people to be recognized, to be celebrated on a daily basis, to feel some sort of coolness that you might not actually feel in your life up to that point. We all want to be something bigger than ourselves. We all want to be big stars, you know? A lot of us do. I mean, that's how Bravo was founded, on people just wanting to be stars. And without Bravo, a lot of these people never would have had the chance. But yeah, Catherine, I would just want to know details. And I would just want to know, like, you know, when you have a responsibility, not just to your partner, but to businesses, how would I trust to ever invest with you when I know you have huge lapses in judgment? Why would I give you my money if I know that you're basically going to risk it all for, you know, horrible thing? I mean, like, and love is not a horrible thing. Love is something that should be cherished and celebrated. But I just think this usually isn't the way you want to go about things with love. I mean, like, this feels so high school to me, you guys. Amy Bowen. Amy! Will Rachel get fired if she doesn't appear on the reunion? I know that's the precedent, but she's driving the popularity of the show. Who would you trust in a room with the love of your life? Sandoval, Schwartz, Rachel, or Jax? Who would I trust in a room? Listen, before this shit, I would have trusted Sandoval. Listen, my mom was around Sandoval. Now I don't trust him at all. You can't be around Becky Bailey. No, she will not get fired if she doesn't show up at the reunion. No, she will not get fired. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, you know, Andy has to play that middle of the road. Like, well, Rachel did apologize, you know. It's like he's making a TV show at the end of the day. I mean, I thought Andy came off more caring than Lisa Vanderpump did when I saw that the other night. No, she will not be fired. In fact, if anything, I would not be surprised if production is treating her with kid gloves because they are trying to get them to film and to continue to film and to do this. Like, remember, this employs people. Not just the cast members, but the crew. And the crew aren't evil people. Like, they're looking to put bread on the table like anybody else. And I mean, producer Jerry, man, I was talking about him the other day. He came back after a couple of seasons off, and he's leading this to like one of the best seasons in years. But also producer Jerry has been there from the beginning. And when I've talked to him before, a long time, you know, he would talk about like how it is hard when you do get to know these people personally because you do become friendly with them. It does. I can only imagine what some of these people are going through because they do care about the people they are filming. But at the same time, they have to play every angle. Yeah, I wouldn't trust. I mean, listen, who would I trust more knowing what I know now? This is a really good question. I'm like sitting there going, you know, I think it's Schwartz because, here's it. Because I don't think Schwartz is an aggressor, but he's somebody that will take whatever's offered to him, if that makes sense. Like if somebody's like giving him all the signals, he's going to jump on that. But I sometimes think, I mean, Schwartz comes off as flirty to everybody. Like anybody that's met him, you'll like, but he wouldn't make that move until you made it. And then he's like, fuck, it's on. So I would actually trust Schwartz the most, but by a thin hair. By like the thinnest of hairs. Like, ugh, these guys, man. And yeah, I want to talk about Schwartz and Joe, his girlfriend, in a second. Katie, what does next series look like? I can't see Sandoval or Rachel being able to shoot again. I think you'd be surprised on that. Sandoval and Ariana as a unit were quite key to drawing the group together. Is Lala trying to compensate for being sober and not really having any storyline by saying outrageous things? She is so tedious and unfunny. Would you consider having Sandoval on your pod if Ariana gave approval? I Yeah, only if Ariana gave approval, but also that would just be a really hard one for me to actually do because I'm very sad at him, you know? And like I have his phone number. Like I mean like I've texted with him and I almost considered blocking his number just in case he reached out. Um yeah, like but this story has nothing to do with me, but I am so wildly disappointed and in the end like I cuz I just I mean I truly did really look up to that dude. Like, and this I don't look up to. It makes me look up to the ladies like Ariana and Katie, and I'll try to explain that a little bit more as we go on. I think the next series will look like. I mean, think about it. The next series is right now. Like I kept saying, like they should just start shooting the next season right now instead of adding extra episodes this season. They should just start filming because you got the court, the hearing with Raquel and Sheena coming up. You have all of these events. And what does the next series look like? It looks like right now, you guys. It looks like Raquel and Tom, some Schwartz. That being a little group, you'll have the Sheens of Schwartz with Sandoval going, "You betrayed us, dude. You betrayed our businesses. What were you thinking, man? Like, come on, bro. I was there for you, dude. I was there for you with Katie. And come on, man. I'm in love, dude." And you potentially will have Sandoval trying to win Raquel back. Like, and listen, usually, oh, it'll be so like these people are narcissists. Sandoval is a full-blown narcissist. I was reading all these different levels of narcissism, which, by the way, I read this one level of narcissism, you guys, because I was like, I was reading, I was like, which one of these am I? There's a narcissist level where it's a narcissist that doesn't want to be in front of people, thinks they're the ugliest person in the room, like all of these negative things. And I was like, that is kind of me. I shit you not. I was so surprised. I was like, wait, that's a narcissist too? So like, dude, I have narcissistic tendencies, definitely. But he's a full-blown narcissist where I think he would definitely jump at the chance to continue filming. Remember that you know, this is, they want to make money and they want to be successful and a star. I wanted to get into the tax thing really quick too. This is what I talked about earlier. So Tom Sandoval and Ariana Maddox $37,000 tax lien and $2 million gamble on LA mansion revealed before his affair. It is a really big house. It's not a mansion. It's also in Valley Village, and it's also right off a major road. It's like the first house right off a major road, so it's like not secluded. It's like it's suburbs in a way. So I'm reading this off the Sun. The Vanderpump Rules couple took precautious actions if their home were to face foreclosure. Tom, 39, and Ariana, 37, which now we find out that Tom is actually 41, bought their 5-bedroom Los Angeles home for $2 million back in 2019. According to the document, and by the way, it is a really nice house, and they put so much work into it, so it's like so sad because that shit, when they sell it, won't mean dick for that house. In the first one, Ariana owed $9,740, and in the second, she owed like close to $38,000. While it appears Ariana has since settled her smaller debt, the larger amount is still not paid off nearly 4 years later. On the show, fans watch as Tom and Ariana gambled their $2 million home, risking their finances for him to place the down payment on the bar. Although behind the scenes, it appears Tom and Ariana were taking precautions in the event their home could face foreclosure. In July 2021, the couple filed an assignment of rents clause, the U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal. According to U.S. legal, an assignment of rent clause allows the lender to collect rents from the mortgaged property in the event of default by the borrower. By filing this, Tom and Ariana were able to pay their outstanding mortgage to their bank to help reduce the outstanding loan balance. In August 2021, Tom and Ariana took an additional precautionary step for their joint finances by filing a reconveyance. A reconveyance is a document indicating the transfer of a property's title from the lender to the borrower, according to Rocket Mortgage. Ooh, Rocket Mortgage is getting involved. The co-stars opened up about how they invested millions of dollars into Schwartz and Sandy's, blah, blah, blah. While inside the restaurant, Schwartz said he is drowning in money problems amid his divorce, blah, blah, blah. Now, Schwartz is not gambling as much as Tom at this point, which is shocking because Schwartz got the money from the sale of the house. They sold the house. And that's what I talk about Katie getting out at the right time. Like, Katie got out at the right time. Like, she's got that nice little chunk of change from the house. I'm sure she would have rathered the house anyways. But, like, Sandoval and Ariana will not be able to stay in that house. They just won't. And by any, like, they won't. I mean, I think it's kind of haunted at this point anyways with memories, but no, and I think they're going to take a huge hit on it because property is not selling like it once was. The valuation of this thing and the money, like I said, they put in it, they're already going to lose so much money because of all the special things that Sandoval did to that place. And I'm sure Ariana did as well. But Tom was like way more into like, you know, the Tom of it all. Like I said on one of those shows this week, he was showing me where they're going to have a secret bookshelf, and it was going to be like a little speakeasy. But when I say speakeasy, it was like the size of a closet. But he's like, you know, a couple people, you know, you pull this book, and it's going to be a secret passageway. And like, they were already starting on that. And you know, damn, dude. So yeah, it seems like, but they have a nice pool back there, and God, it's so dark. There's so many pictures with Tom and Rachel. Here's one with Tom, Rachel, and Brittany, Jax's wife, from a little bit ago. So it's like they were fucking having dates all the time. And he was able to hide it because nobody really questioned it because they were showmates and they were really good friends. And Raquel was really good friends with Ariana. Like, they were fucking sharing Ubers up until 2 weeks ago. Just Ariana and Raquel. Like, themselves. They would leave things together. Like, how fucked up do you gotta be, man? Like, what a fucking loser. Sorry. So I think there's a definite way they will shoot again, but I think you're going to really see those battle lines drawn, and Sandoval's going to have another rough season. But it's going to be sad overall. I don't know how you make that fun. Ariana dating, you could say, yeah, now she is on the prowl with Lala, but Ariana like kind of rolls her eyes at a lot of that stuff anyways. And yeah, Ariana, the world is going to be your oyster. But what I keep saying, though, and even with Katie, is just like this shit haunts you. It's not like you're all of a sudden just like Lala. Lala will talk tough and act big and like, I'm ready to fuck. Let's get this pussy pounded. Like that kind of shit. But even that, it's like you're just ignoring the fact that you got real mental work to do down the line. Because this shit, like, trust me. Like, I was in a divorce like 5 years ago and this shit still haunts me. Like, it never doesn't haunt me. Like, it never does. Like, I don't see how it ever will not. Because you think about all those times with your partner that you were like, I will love you forever. We will be together for the rest of our lives. And you meant it. You meant it. And those are the times that you just sometimes get like, how did it end like so badly? Or how did it end at all? And, you know, it's like so funny. We used to throw Oscar parties, me and my ex, every year. And we had like 5 or 6 of those, like, over the course of our marriage. And I was thinking about that today. That was like one of my first thoughts of like, oh, I wonder if she's sad thinking about those memories, because that was one of our things. You know, she took a lot of pride in those Oscar parties. But we weren't good together. Like, there were moments that were good, but overall it was not. Like, I really do. That's why I really I really understand Katie Maloney, is that she had to make a really tough decision with the Schwartz thing, because she knew it wasn't good for her mentally overall and for her long-term health. And so she had to make a really tough decision. And I really understand that from a very personal level. Is that I could have stayed in a lot of, but I don't know. It's still so confusing. It's still such a mind fuck. And that's what I'm saying. Like Ariana, like that, like 9, 10 years. Like, I mean, knowing this person for so long and just going like, well, now they're out of my life for the time being. Like they're out of my life. But those memories, like think about it. Like if she ever goes back to Coachella, those memories are going to be with Tom. If she ever goes to Life is Beautiful, those memories are going to be Tom. If she ever sees a fucking lightsaber, those memories are going to be with Tom because Tom has a collection of lightsabers. There's going to be so many memories like that that just will pop up at these random inopportune moments that really fuck you up in the middle of the night. And you guys, a lot of you guys have been through breakups. You know, it fucks you up. And especially if you're a person that's introspective, insecure, like these things will haunt you. And, part of me, it's like part of me just kind of like hopes, it's like I just want her to find somebody. Like I know she dates and all that. I know she, but like I want her to fall in deep love. Because I will feel more free being able to live my life, if that makes sense. There's a lot of things that play in my head that I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, I just want to know this. It's like even with my mom, like I want to know the PET scan results this week, so I know how my future is gonna go. Like I don't want to plan any kind of, because I would love a vacation. And I can't do that until I know that my mom's gonna be here or what's to and yeah. Anyway, so I've this. You guys are probably looking for more salacious stuff, and I'm getting way too like deep. Sorry, you guys. And yeah, Lala I think is ridiculous. Lala is like what I say. I want her on Beverly Hills Housewives because Lala has that kind of, to me, surface level thing where she's good to get into it with somebody. She's good, but like a lot of the time it's so forced. Like this week with just like the shocking things, and it's like okay, Lala, But I enjoy it on a very surface level. But at the end of the day, I just Lala's one of those people that you have to remind yourself is that this person, like a lot of us, is just deeply insecure. So she says wild shit like that to protect herself against actual real human emotions on television. Because also I did this documentary a long time ago. God, 6 years ago? I don't know, a long time ago. And Lala, this is when she was on Vanderpump. Lala was one of my talking heads. And so was Spencer Pratt, actually. I still have this footage. We didn't end up making the documentary, but we had all this footage. And I remember Lala coming in, and she was just the sweetest, nicest person, so down to earth. So down to earth. But then when you put her in a talking head situation, she explodes. She's like, fuck this, fuck that, da da da. She becomes a completely different person. It's so funny. I still have a NDA, or what do I have? An NDA signed by Lala somewhere in my paperwork. And it's so funny because I don't, and the way I got her in that was I was dealing with her manager at the time, is that I got her into a table read of American Dad because my friends write and produce on that show. And I took her to a table read. But like, I'm so weird like that. Like when I talk with Lala, I don't even bring that up because I don't think she remembers it. Or I brought it up on the live that we did for Moment a couple of weeks ago. But I always never think I'll be remembered. So I just always keep quiet about like, oh yeah, I've worked with you in the past or something. But I should share that footage with you guys one day. I have not checked. It's like on a hard drive somewhere, but I should just go back. And she was so beautiful back then. Like it was like when Lala was just like stunning. But then I remember when she came in for American Dad. I mean, she's still stunning. I mean, she came in for American Dad table read, and she was running late, and she came in with no makeup, and she looked so different, so different. I guess we all do. Michelle, I love Michelle. Kiki Monique said she heard more Scandal stuff coming out next week. Did you hear the same? I keep thinking I'm sick of the story, but obviously I'm not if I'm asking this. Rihanna Crumley has the same question. I talked to Kiki yesterday. We were texting a bunch yesterday, and there is more stuff coming. She does not know what it is. But more stuff is going to be coming out, I'm hearing, and that's why I got scared that production did know this and they potentially filmed scenes. But I found out that that was not the case. So more stuff is coming. I'm just sure it's more details, and probably, if anything, we're going to find out really how long Schwartz has known about this. Maybe it's the month, like Kristen Doty says, and what I've heard. Maybe it's a lot longer. I keep leaning now to the potentially a lot longer because. Listen, and let's just call out what we all kind of have been. I don't know if he called like that girl Jo that lives. She also lives in San Diego, I think, and she'll come and stay with Schwartz and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, that's his girlfriend. Doesn't mean Schwartz doesn't cheat on her, and doesn't mean he doesn't make out with other people. But that's his girlfriend, Jo. And I know some people that are like, she has a locked Instagram account, but I know some people that are in, and they did a deep dive, and there are so many pictures of Raquel and Jo hanging out. And I think sometimes with Schwartz and Sandoval. And so I'm like, okay, this in a way reads like double dating. This in a way, like, so then it makes me think, okay, Schwartz must have known a lot, like it's like a double date. And this Jo seems like a nice person, and I really don't know how Schwartz rationalizes his behavior to Jo. And I think there's a lot of, well, it's for the show. It's for the show, I do think he also kissed Raquel not to cover up for Sandoval. I think Sandoval truly did encourage him to do that, but Sandoval might have encouraged him to do that to save his ass in a situation with Ariana, but I think Schwartz did that unknowingly, but I could be wrong about that as well. We do know they kissed. We do know they were pressured into that. And I also knew from the very beginning that it wasn't a relationship like that. Like, I think he finds Raquel hot, but it was not something that he was interested in pursuing. And so when they posted those pictures together, it was kind of funny because that picture they posted a couple weeks ago, if you follow Jo's Instagram account, she was there that night as well and has pictures right in front of that sign as well with all of them at the same time of day. So they were all thinking LOL because I think a lot of that inside circle know about Jo and Schwartz's relationship. Jo is initially Kristen Doty's friend, which I'm curious if Doty is still friends with Jo in that sense, or it's just, what a mess, man. But Kiki, I think Kiki, we're either going to go live this week on Instagram or she's going to come on the pod or something. Michelle also writes, did you watch the MH370 doc on Netflix yet? Just finished now and want to know everyone's theories. I half watched it. I need to get more it wasn't hitting for me in terms of like keeping me invested, because what it is, it's that Malaysian Airlines crash that happened years ago that was really a mystery and still to this day is. There's so many different theories on it. It did the documentation style of it didn't really grab me, but I might not have been in the mood to watch it. It's 3 parts on Netflix, you guys. I was really excited to start it, but I gotta say, I think my head was too into this where I was just like on my phone a lot of the time instead of giving my full attention to it. But I need to sit down and try to rewatch that again. Oscar pick for the big categories, Entertainment Weekly style. What should win? What will win? This is great, Michelle. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once for me was so moving and I loved it so much. I'm hearing All Quiet on the Western Front might win for Best Picture, which would be wild, but a lot of these movies split their votes. And remember, there used to be only 5 nominees for Best Film, and then they broadened it to 10 or something insane like that because they wanted more people to watch and stuff like that. I'm reading this book on the Oscars right now called Oscar Wars by Michael Schulman, or I'm listening to the book. And it's fascinating because, it takes us back to, it's almost 100 years of the Oscars now. I think this is the 95th year, and just how much history, and it takes you back to a time in Hollywood when Hollywood Hollywood will always mean something, but it really meant something. It wasn't, you didn't have TikTok, you didn't have internet, you had, these people were gods. These people were gods. And they really were stars, and they had a they also thought of their responsibility to the country, which it keeps getting brought up in the book of, they really, because they were the mouthpiece for this country. And, through World War II, through all, it was just really, really fascinating. Like, they really, they meant something. They were just genuine stars, and now everybody's a star. So it kind of dilutes what movie stars used to be. Like even that, like I said, I used to fucking like up until like 6 or 7 years ago, fucking look forward to the Oscars so much, and now I just find some of it so silly because it's so hard to. It's so hard to say this is better than that. It's all in how it makes you feel, and how it makes you feel can change from one year to the other. You can come at a movie now that you hated 5 years ago, and you might love it because now you're seeing it at a time in your life where you understand it more. But I want to see. I'd love to see Angela Bassett finally win, even though I don't like it that it's for Wakanda Forever. That movie didn't really hit for me the way that I wanted it to. But I think it was tied to having to deal with Chadwick Boseman's death, and Angela Bassett was amazing in it. But then it also tried to be a superhero movie as well, and those melding of the two, I didn't think it was fully achieved in the way that the director might have wanted it to. And the director's he's so talented. So Angela Bassett, I Want Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Actor, what do you got? Brendan Fraser. I think Brendan Fraser will win, but I have not seen The Whale, but that's what I'm hearing, even though I hear The Whale. A lot of people just really don't like that movie, but I have not seen it. Listen, I want to see the new Scream movie more than I want to see The Whale or any of these Oscar movies. Michelle, I'll probably do this question more on the main feed pod. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to. I'm sure. Listen, how many slap jokes are we going to hear from Chris Rock and Will Smith about that whole situation from last year, which is still so shocking. But I can't. We'll probably hear tons of those things. I really don't have high hopes, so maybe I'll really love it. I mean, thank God. Oh, by the way, Rihanna is performing. So now we're going to have to deal with that bullshit again of like, is Rihanna doing good enough job? How pregnant is she now? Like what it's going to be if she's got to give birth on stage for it to really mean something. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of the categories. I mean, there were a lot of good movies this year. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once for me really stands out in the sense of like they told a really beautiful story about mothers and daughters and life, and they did it in such a really futuristic way of what cinema could look like. They used the multiverse. They used I don't think that movie is for everybody, but the technical aspect of that movie is so tough, and they nailed it. But they also never sacrificed the human emotion and the feeling. I teared up in multiple scenes in that. I mean, that scene with just the rocks. Oh, you know what? I would love to see Colin Farrell win for The Banshees of Inisherin. I love that movie. That movie was a movie that I was not looking forward to watching, and it swept me away. Like a man, it swept me away. Like, no, I just thought it was so, and I thought, Colin Farrell, damn, man, I really used to not like Colin Farrell. I just thought he was in it for the wrong reasons, and he is just such a damn good actor. I mean, just fantastic. So would love to see him win. Carol, and by the way, Michelle, loved the picture of your baby. Carol, how did Tom think this was likely to play out? Like, was there any form of strategy? Because right now, this looks like a lose-lose. Also, I totally see him coming back next season. He bloody needs the show now more than ever for redemption for his business interests alone. Yeah, man. Talk about wanting a redemption season. That's why I think he'll definitely be back, because I think he wants to prove that he's a good person, or be able to explain something. And television is a very powerful medium that you can use for other things. And he's a businessman. Well, not a good one, but he wants to keep his businesses afloat. So he needs TV more than TV needs him. But he's going to get his ass kicked for a long time. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like to believe everybody's irredeemable, but this was just such a big, big mistake, and it just hurt somebody that I think is truly great. I think likely to play out. I think the form of strategy I really keep going back to, and what I hear is that he was going to do this after the reunion when it was in the off season, and then come back, and then, but he was going to make it look like he was a good guy even in that. But I really think the bigger this got, the more it got away from them. And in fact, like, he had to get caught. He had to have gotten caught like this, but hopefully that's one of the questions Andy asks at the reunion. I really hope it is. I mean, yeah. Shelby, do you now question whether there was any truth to previous rumors you heard about Tom and Ariana? Infidelity and or contemplating a breakup over the years? Yeah, of course I do. I mean, I heard, but I no. See, well, I will say there. There's been so many of these rumors, and every time there was a rumor, I mean, I remember one. I was like, what? There was like somebody in Dumois said there was like a moving truck outside of her house, and I texted my buddy that's like best friends with them or her, and he was like, no, fuck no. He's like, but at first he was like, what? Like, he was even like, wait, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh, no, dude, no, not at all. Like, there was always these things of like, no, not at all. Like, don't even think twice about it. But of course, like, dude, relationships do go through ups and downs, but it doesn't mean you deserve that person gets deserved to be cheated on. And by the way, they probably weren't having sex as much as he wanted. That also doesn't mean you get to cheat on your partner. It just doesn't mean that, especially if they have an open line of communication, which obviously now we know they didn't, or not one that was effective. But yeah, like that, the way Tom should have handled this, if like, there are too many things that I want that this relationship cannot do for me right now. And that would have momentarily hurt. But in the end, if he knew these things about, I don't know what the proper way to have done this, but I just imagine not doing what he did would have been a good start. And not hooking up with, I mean, it's the same thing that Katie's saying this season, not someone in the friend group. Like, are you fucking out of your mind? And like, that's like, you can say, Tom, like at some point, Rachel is going to have to learn in life as a 28-year-old that, she can't do this. Like, you can't do this to people. You can't do this to people that are nice to you, I don't know. It just keeps blowing me away every time I think about it, because I can't imagine what it's like for her, in the heat of all of this. No, sorry, I lost my place here for the question. But yeah, Shelby, I do question those things. I'm sure there is more cheating with random people. I don't think on Ariana's part though. Ariana has weirdly always been wildly upfront in how she feels about things and how she I mean, she's even said some things to me about like things that I've done in the past or things that and really upfront. Really in the nicest, most caring way possible. At the end of the day, she's a really real person where when you're around Tom, there's more of a I'm a star at play, And Ariana is still like she's a real person. Like I remember I talked to her a couple times about like her not being on Winter House, and like, man, it would be nice if, but it was never of like, they owe this to me, I'm a star, because I would always encourage her like, oh my God, you could do this, you could do that, you could do this. And that's why I also relate to her because, even with this success of what she's, she still had to get up and live every day. And like, just life sometimes gets away from you and you don't get the opportunities that you need at the right time. Or like, it is hard to put yourself out there over repeatedly. I do wonder if Dear Media wishes her podcast was still going though right now. Sandra, when will Raquel move in? Well, Sandra, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon because I don't think they're going to have a house for her to move into. If anything, Tom would have to move in with her family. And by the way, people keep saying that like Raquel was worth like $30 million according to some bullshit website. I can assure you, maybe that's her parents, but it's definitely not her. People were like, well, she's modeling and pageants. I'm like, girl, yeah, she was in pageants. She paid more to be in those than she got any money from. And modeling, dude, she was living in a studio apartment in North Hollywood. Like, guys, she's not worth $30 million. Like, personally, she is just not. Period. End of story. Sarah Dickey, how will they divide their assets since they're not married? Did they make some sort of agreement prior to... Supposedly they did make an agreement, but I think at the end of the day, we're seeing that agreement is probably not going to protect Ariana like it should. And I'm really bummed out about that. I think they're going to have some really bad financial issues coming up here. Or would it be similar to a divorce since they've been together long enough for it to be considered a domestic partnership? Now, I think in Los Angeles, I've been hearing conflicting stories about this, that... they wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, actually, Miss Scarlett answers this underneath. You have to register for registered domestic partnership in California. Hopefully, they had enforceable cohabitation agreement. The property was held as joint tenancy. I think. I think that's correct. What Miss Scarlett says. But I have a feeling Ariana's going to get a little screwed in this. Not because Tom's going to take the lion's share. I think Tom made a bunch of bad decisions, potentially. That if they had stayed together and rode this out, it would have all kind of evened out. But I think if they're going to be forced to sell this, or they're going to take a massive loss. Alana Hemmenstall, what do you make of Dumois claims that Rachel has a forged vaccination card that is the reason she is distancing herself from production? How would they prove that it's fake, and how would she prove she has been vaxxed? I believe it in the sense that I don't believe she has been vaxxed, and I do believe she has a fake vaccination ID card. I put the Dumois thing in my Instagram stories the other day, and of course you always get the anti-vaxxers like, you're gonna shame people. Like, dude, you work for a corporation that has enforceable laws. Like, that's it. I'm not shaming fucking shit, but like, if you're gonna forge vaccination, and by the way, I don't think it's gonna get her. I don't think that's why she's distancing herself from production at all. In fact, I don't think she's the only one that hasn't been vaccinated on that cast. That's what I'll say. But I don't think that's it at all. I mean, I don't think that's going to come into play at all. I think it's true, but I think it's a red herring. Also, Alana says, do you think someone close to LVP has leaked their whole Scandival to cover up the loss of liquor licenses? No. Or Amy Field says vice versa. Yeah, not paying their license fee. Okay. So, no. And by the way, TomTom is still open. This is not the first time that has happened over at TomTom and Sir. I remember like about 6 or 7 years ago, I think the same thing happened. Lisa Vanderpump has a good enough relationship with the city of West Hollywood and brings a lot of business to the city of West Hollywood. So I think it was like the check got lost in the mail. I think she will. I think if anything, it's already cleared up. TomTom was open last night. And they're open today. So that is, that stuff happens more than people would think, and you're like, how would you forget? Like, but things do get, lost and things like that. But Lisa has a good enough relationship where that's not going to affect. And no, she did not leak that to cover up for these licenses, because that's a really quick fix, and she just owed the money to them. Let's see here. Diana, have you thought about what you'd say to, okay. Have you been in contact with Ariana? I contacted one time with Ariana, but like, listen, this is where I get into a little bit of a weird headspace. Not a weird headspace, but she has so many people coming at her right now, and so much love and stuff like that. So she knows I've reached out to her, and but I have not, and I probably will not continue to reach out to her. But I'm always here for her if she needs anything, and I've been in deep contact with a lot of the people around her that are around her on a daily basis. And, like, listen, I've been like, part of there's something about her merchandise that I promoted this week on my show and on the Instagram page. Like, I knew that was coming out from that camp, and I was asked to promote it, and I was happy to promote it. They deserve for their business to be able to thrive and stuff like that. So I knew that was happening. And by the way, the merchandise is funny too, because they were working on the merchandise before Scandival broke. Believe it or not, the merchandise design, like the one with the knife and all that was done like a while back. So this kind of forced them to actually get that online store up and running, because it was already in the works because of this season. The designs were already done, from what I was told. But I've been in contact, and you'll probably hear on the main podcast this week a couple of people that are in the thick of it with her that have wanted to come on the show, and I'm hoping that it holds and they are going to come on the show. So stay tuned to that show. But yeah, I also realize I'm not going to put her in a tough position, I think, with any of these people. Listen, I'm a fan of the show, and this is what I do for a living. So if I were them, I would be suspect of me. Like, I think they know I'm a nice person, that I care, very deeply. But I also know, like, this has never been brought up, but I also don't think anybody's going to be rushing out to speak to me because I would tell you guys. Well, that's not true. People do reach out. I go back and forth. It's probably more insecure thought than anything else. But yeah, no, I've reached out to Ariana once. I will always be friends with her. And if she needs anything, I have made it very apparent to that I'm here. I do know that she was looking at some of my memes, or people were showing her some of my memes, and she was She got a kick out of some of them. Imagine some of like that's a tough thing too. Is like, I do what I do, and like, yeah, I'm gonna hit hard on some of these things that I put out there, and mainly against Sandoval. But yeah, like she follows like it's like just she reactivated her Instagram account. She follows me, my So Bad It's account, and she follows my personal account, which I don't post on anymore. Ryan Bailey 25. But like, yeah, it's like I've known her for like a long time now, and I just don't know, yeah, I just feel because I know she's a person that doesn't want anybody to feel bad for her either. So it's really just what a tough situation. But yeah, I mean, I know I'll talk to her at some point. I think everybody's wanting to a piece of her right now. Like people like Sheena, they want to be in the mix. They want to. They're just more used to it, and they also approach life differently than Ariana. Sheena wants another person that kind of wants to be a star, wants to be in the limelight, all of this stuff. I will tell you, I have talked to Katie Maloney more in this last. I mean, actually, I've talked to Katie now for a bit over the last while, but really in this last week. And if you listen to the main feed, her mom listens to her mom might actually even be in the Patreon. Who knows? But her mom is a very, very sweet lady. Reminds me so much of my mom. And if you watched her on this week's episode, she just nailed it in what she said. I also, I know, and I don't know this from Terry or Katie, but I do know from my sources that Katie's mom, Terry, has a big moment, which would have been the season finale. But Katie's mom has a big moment going up against Rachel, which I think is going to be very interesting. And that's all that I think a lot of people are going, you're going to see it play out because Rachel is a mess this season and you're going to see that play out. And you're not going to see it potentially play out in terms of Scandival until the very, very end. But now watching it back, you'll be able to watch things with that second eye. But I do know Terry Maloney pops up very deeply in what would have been the season finale. And I have a feeling she rocks it, like really good. But anyways, I talked to Katie or DM'd with Katie a lot. And I will, I hope this is okay to say. She wrote, and like she wrote, she's like, it's so wild because she's like, none of this, like, she's like, because part of it is like, this proves a lot of what Katie has been saying, what she has felt, what her mom has felt, and she's been proven to be right. But like, she's like, I take no joy in this. This is miserable. Like, this is miserable. But also Katie is like, I had to make a decision that was right for my life, for me. And some people totally get it and some people still don't understand it. And I find like these situations really kind of solidify what Katie did for herself and what a brave move that was, because Schwartz would have stayed with her and kept cheating on her again and again and again and again. And Schwartz is charming and good looking, so everybody gives him this pass. And Katie was like, listen, I think a little bit more of my life. And that's really hard to do. Most people don't do that. Most people don't have the strength. You can think whatever you want about Katie. And like, listen, she's had a lot of bad moments on this show. And as you look deeper, you're like, Schwartz wasn't helping the situation at all. At all. And they just, I don't know. But anyways, I just think, we talked about Rachel and, there's just a soulless quality to there that I don't think you can just chalk up just to age. Like, I think something is deeply off with that girl. Like, just deeply off. And I don't even mean diabolically, just deeply off. But I will say, I mean, that's Katie is the interview I really, really want to get. And I don't know how, like, I've thought about it a lot. I don't know. Like, I haven't talked to her about doing it in a while, but a couple weeks ago, before all this broke, she was like, yeah, give it a couple weeks and I'm going to come on and you'll understand a lot more about the season in a couple of weeks. And that was because I think of all the Rachel stuff that was like dropping in regards to Schwartz. Oh, that's what we were talking on DM. I said, I can't believe the shit she would just say to your face. And she was like, shocking. She's like, and this is all shocking. This is all shocking. But Katie isn't taking some kind of victory lap. She's like, this is miserable. This is miserable. But it just goes, man, women have it so much more on the ball than men. Women make the tough decisions. We, men, we puss out. We puss out. We think of short-term easiness instead of long-term happiness. And I think women have just always, they make the tough decisions. And it doesn't mean you're unfeeling or uncaring, but you're just like, you do. And I'm not saying like, listen, I've had plenty of women like do awful things to me. I know women can be completely just as shitty. I'm not saying like, listen, no, everybody does bad things, but it just is interesting because it's like, man, I mean, it really is a pattern. Like most men are like this. I mean, I'm not, I don't know. It's really, Caitlin Laird. My instincts at this stage is that Rachel broke up off things with James because Sandoval was already making moves. I firmly believe paying for their engagement is one of these. I guess my question is, do others think Rachel? Caitlin, I think I spoke about this earlier. I don't think so. Like, Tom was paying for that engagement because he wanted to do something really cool for the show. Like, we even talked about that on the podcast I did with him, where he talked about wanting something big for the show, wanting it to look cool for the audience. And like, that's very Tom. Like I said, I got no sense, but I wasn't looking for it, but I don't think this was going, but also like, yeah, they did know each other. They were friendly. I mean, who knows? Maybe in his head, he was like, I'd like to bang her. Who knows? But I really don't think so, but I could be wrong. But we'll see more. Like, more stuff will come out about all of these questions will be answered at some point. We just might have to wait for some of them. Caitlin continued, broke up with James with Sandoval in mind. Does this lens change how we view this behavior? I don't give Rachel that much credit where she had her eye on Tom. I think she had her eye on herself in a lot of ways. I don't think she was leapfrogging. And in fact, I think at the beginning of the season, she really genuinely was confused. But by the way, she was making out with everybody. I don't know if she was banging, but you had Nima, you had Peter, you had and I know a couple of random people she was making. So I think she was very confused of like, where do I go from here? So potentially, I think some of the season, what she's saying is that she really was lost. But I think Sandoval potentially made her feel less lost. And the attraction and whatever they're calling love came from that. Of like, you can do this, because Sandoval always pumps you up, So I really don't think the DJ James Kennedy, I really don't think, I would bet that it was not a thing back then, but I could totally lose that bet. And Caitlin, if I do, I'm paying your Patreon for the rest of the year. Jen, Ryan, why are you still so adamant that the Coachella rumor wasn't about Tom Sandoval? There are tweets back in April alluding to it being about Sandoval, not Schwartz. Even if everyone was together at a group at Coachella, doesn't mean that they were together every minute. I didn't think it's implausible that they kissed here. Nothing went further for a few months, and then it turned into a full-blown affair during the summer. I'm just adamant in just the sense of like, I was already kind of like, holy shit, I'm like, we're watching the whole weekend with these guys that I watch on TV. So there was that part of like, just shocked to be there. I kept getting scared that Sheena was going to all of a sudden get mad at me again. Like, I was thinking about all these things. I just remember, in fact, I have this horrible picture of me and Raquel on Sunday night after the Weeknd's concert. And I never posted it because it's just the worst photo. I've got to go look for that. But like, listen, it could have, anything could have happened. Like, in fact, we went on Sunday night after the Weeknd, the festival had closed down, and then we went to this after party in the campgrounds. It was like a silent disco, and we got in like right away because of Tom and Ariana, and we were all there dancing. And finally, I was like to Megan, I was like, I gotta go. I'm exhausted, and I had to put out a podcast for Monday, and I remember leaving, but it wasn't. I remember saying goodbye to Raquel. Listen, it could have happened. That was in April. So I was hearing July is when this started, even from people inside that group, but that could be a lie too. Who knows? It's just that it's hard because like you would think Coachella is like everywhere we went, somebody did know who they were. So to be that brazen, it was like, and also there were just so many times when I saw Ariana and Tom together. Like I said, like I saw them making out and I saw them being very loving, and Logan, her best friend, like we were all there. But like I said, I'm adamant in just the sense of, at some point I've got to, like, I think I'm usually a pretty good judge of character. This has kind of blown my mind as well. So it's possible, but also I've seen people just make up rumors about these people just to make up rumors. So we do have to also remember that things do still get made up. They just do. Not just about everything. Like I said, there's the shred of truth potentially, but a lot of stuff really just gets made up, And listen, we were all on various substances and alcohol, and I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? Marissa, people point out when James and Rachel announced their split, the only one not shocked is Tom. And people point out, oh, the only one not shocked is Tom. And do you think it's? By the way, I also think, remember, guys, DJ James Kennedy isn't a great person. Like, to not shocked, or like, yeah, like, I mean, DJ James Kennedy shouldn't be with anybody for a while. Like, he's not that great of a dude either. So, and we saw that relationship. It wasn't a good relationship. I mean, I remember when that ended, and I was like, oh, good for her. Good. Okay, good. That's a positive thing. I remember thinking, oh, she must not be an idiot. Like, that's great, because he's not a great person to be with. He cheated on her multiple times. Like, don't really like, oh, the poor DJ James Kennedy. No, fuck that. Like, that guy was bad. So I didn't really think anything of it except that, like, good. And by the way, her parents, I think, her parents didn't like him either a great deal. And he gave them multiple reasons to not like him. But she says, do you think it started while she was with James? Sheena said last year around this time they were supposed to go to Tom's show in San Fran, and then got canceled. Then she had Raquel go with her to Ocean's first birthday. With Ocean's second birthday was yesterday. Also, do you think this was partially the long game for Tom to get back at James for sleeping with Kristen in the bed with his condoms? I do. Listen, I think we're all giving Sandoval way too much credit. If any of that, it might have been unconsciously wanting to get back at James. But like, these people, it's like, guys, these people aren't smart. Like, there's only like one or two that I would consider smart. And I never considered Sandoval one of them. I considered him full of passion. And I was always very clear about that. So maybe unconsciously, I mean, it's really funny to think about. I think that would be really hysterical if he was like, I'm going to fucking get back to DJ James Kennedy. I'm going to fuck Raquel. Yeah. But no, I don't personally think that. Also, Raquel also wanted to be friends with all of them. Like, she was with Sheena. Yeah, she wanted to hang out with Sheena as much as possible. Sheena is her bestie, was her bestie. Sheena, that's done for the time being. It'll be interesting to see. These people also, remember, they have there's like some pea brain elements in here that I wouldn't be surprised by like the middle of next season where everybody starts talking to Rachel again, but I hope not. But if you think of the pattern of the show, like, these people should have not talked to Jax after that first season, and everybody ends up, like, it's just not that simple. I feel like with these people, and they don't seem to like really cut people out of their lives. And I think the show has a lot to do with that, but not everything to do with that. I like all these. I mean, these things make me laugh, and there might be a shred of truth, but I just don't think Tom was in. I think this really did develop more recently than ever, because now you're getting to the point of like, oh, was this going on in last season of filming? And it was like, no, it wasn't. Who do we think Ariana should date? No Bravo Leb men. Austin better stay away. I was talking to Ariana at Watch What Crappens a couple weeks ago about Austin, and I go, I know you like him, but I hate him, because she was talking shit about Shep. She was like, ugh, Shep is so gross. Because I was saying I don't want Shep to be in Winter House. She's like, he's not. But Austin, I mean, like, Austin will probably shoot a shot if, Austin shoots his shot at that shit, and he must be really charming in the moment. I think a lot of people have expressed interest for Ariana. I mean, she could date an actual actor, she could date an actual musician. It is that cocktail book she brings up. It is funny. That was Ariana's book, and Tom like leaned into that. It's so wild. Yeah, I hope she does something. I just hope she does something. And I think the world truly is her oyster. And that's why even at the sandwich shop, which I hear they're very serious about, because I was like, even if she doesn't want to do that, it doesn't matter. Like, do what she wants to do. But yeah, dude, I mean, personally, I hope she dates a woman. I mean, like, I just hope she dates somebody. I hope she can have fun. And I just think it's going to, I would imagine, it would be so hard to trust somebody after this, because you would be looking over your shoulder the entire time, and it would be hard to then trust other people that you were friends around with your partner, just thinking that, oh, my partner was banging one of my friends in front of me. They had a whole secret life going on. They had secret codes. They had fucking and by the way, I would never want to see a lightning bolt ever again in my life. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff, it's like, I just wonder, like, she also doesn't, Ariana doesn't really strike me as destructive. Like, remember her not even wanting to be on Vanderpump Rules at first, and she kept hiding from the camera. Like, Ariana's more aware than some of these other people are. I mean, listen, I hope she has her fun, and hopefully, but also usually those times when I was first out of my relationship that I ended up hooking up with somebody or even just making out with somebody or something like that, there was like this insane guilt I felt, even though I was right in being able to do whatever. There was insane guilt as well, and some of those things didn't feel good to me. Like the afterwards, I was like, oh, this didn't fill any hole. Well, sorry. Amy, question for Ryan from the podcast. When did you last speak to Dodie? Please speak with her. Oh God, everything feels so long ago, but maybe Wednesday of this week we DM'd really quickly. Listen, Dodie, her, she's riding high on the success of being back on the show and her podcast, because her podcast wasn't doing any kind of numbers. So now this actually did. So I think, and it's hard for those things because I'm like, okay, now I got to wait for Dodie to come back to earth again to be able to like, she hasn't extended another invite to be on her podcast. And I don't know. I think I really do believe my theory is true that I said last week, is that I think they put her back on the show just to shut her up because her podcast revealed so much information, which was true. Like, I had heard a lot about that already. So it was definitely true. I just think it's so interesting that like Ariana was letting Dodie be around. Like, they are friendly, but it is funny how, like, I hate to say anybody inserted themselves into any of this because Dodie, but Dodie, Dodie did her own time with Sandoval. I mean, Dodie also did a lot of her own mistakes. And, I don't know. Dodie, she had a long-term relationship with that other dude. She has a new relationship that's pretty serious right now. She's definitely a relationship person. And I don't know if you ever fully heal or become a different person. She's made a lot of bad decisions herself that have hurt people. But yeah, no, I haven't talked to her. But also, Amy, you know me, I'm not sitting there going like, hey, Dodie, when are you coming on? Like, it'll be like, I sometimes let the work of like the memes and all that do, like, because then they'll usually come to that and they'll be like, LOL, and then they'll just open up. A lot of people, like, I don't even have to, like, they'll come to me now. It's like, that's kind of a weird experience, and it's really refreshing because I'm not good at that pushing. Like, some of the people that do what I do, or they push, they try to get in DMs of these. I'm just not that person sometimes, and that might be annoying to you guys. Am I watching The Last of Us? I am. I finally caught up yesterday. I'm excited for the season finale tonight. That little girl, actually, I think they're non-binary. So that little person sometimes annoys the shit out of me because I think her name's, the actor's name is Bella Ramsey. Because I think that character can be really annoying. It's a little kid that, I don't know. I like it a lot. It's a little, it hits a lot of the same notes that Walking Dead does, but in a much more cinematic, heavy way. I think Pedro Pascal is amazing. I really like that dude. It's really good. I'm bummed that it's over tonight, and, hopefully they're already hard at work on a second season, but I dig it. I really like End of the World kind of stuff. I do. I was thinking about it yesterday when I was watching. I was like, I wonder if anybody watches this, and like, when the end of the world actually does come, it's disappointing because it's nothing like TV. TV told us it would be. Jamie Beth, kind of very annoyed about Tom jovially talking to the TMZ reporter. Is he apparently on his way to the Winter House? I can't stress enough how much I do not want to see him or Sandoval on Winter House. Taylor Armstrong enough. I feel like Winter House is going to be such a flop this upcoming season. Yeah, I heard that he was going to Winter House, but once again, I don't have direct from producers knowledge, but that's what I heard, that he was going to Winter House. My thought on this is, yeah, I don't want them there either. But then there is that part of, I would imagine Bravo thinking, well, maybe Sandoval doesn't come, but Schwartz. It'll be interesting. Like, just to have a camera on him during this time to actually see how he pouts and tries to make people feel bad for him, Schwartz. And I maybe Sandoval even will pop in. And you'll have that house talk of like, you're an asshole, but it's okay, buddy. We're not going to alienate you, buddy. But yeah, this seems like it could be a really mess of a season, but it could be good. I'm always of that hope of like, well, it could be awesome. They have Below Deck people. They have Family Karma. They have a lot of different people. I don't really know what their idea was with this season. Kyle's there, but not Amanda. But yeah, I'm just not for keeping these people like making extra money. Like keep them on Vanderpump Rules, don't give them extra money. Janine says, "Oh, seeing your feet in the t-shirt pic, Ryan. Oh yeah, I cropped those. I cropped the feet. Oh my god, I got to show you guys this. So Shop Wild World of Ack made me, like, I didn't even ask for this. She made me this. Look at this. If you're watching the video version, this is like an ode to the Tom scandal. Like here's Rachel, here's a tomato, here's Tom's first apology, here's Tom crying, here's Andy. Look at like just tomatoes everywhere, and on the sleeve you got DJ James Kennedy crying. You got that Schwartz Raquel photo. You got Jax smiling. This is so fucking genius. She is such a dope person. I think I'm gonna get her on the podcast. I think she's gonna do it and talk about like just the artistry that goes into these kind of things. But I opened that and I was like, no way. But yeah, I forgot to crop my feet out of that pic. Hey, that's the real me. Sometimes I don't wear shoes around, you know. Kristen says, you've mentioned here before that you couldn't get a read on Raquel. Give us more deets on your encounters with her and why did you feel that way? Yeah, I mean, like I've had a bunch of encounters with Raquel. Like I just felt she was like, when I was thinking more positively about her, I would say I would sometimes use the word ethereal. She's like, she just kind of floats, you know, and I was trying to be positive, but yeah, like, you know, like normal people, you can like I can have a conversation with Ariana and she's like, or, you know, like any of those people, or you can even have a conversation with Tom and go, oh, I really like that dude, but he's really full of himself. You know, like he's really into him. Like I knew that, but I also was like, oh, but I really like the way where he puts his energy. Raquel, you just didn't get any of that. You didn't get any context clues of who this person was. And I remember, like, even at that Daily Mail party, I've said this so many times, but like the cameras, like I had watched her talk to Peter. The cameras were not fully up anymore. They were doing that scene with Schwartz and Katie over in one of the booths. And I was with Kiki, Monique, and Raquel was walking away. And from talking to somebody, and I was going to the bathroom and I bumped in. I go, hey, are you okay? Because Allie was there, DJ James Kennedy's girlfriend. And she was like, yeah. Like, why? Why would you say if I was And I thought it was the weirdest interaction, but it also was like, it was so on par with every interaction. Dude, at BravoCon, it was weird too, because I was at the after party for Schwartz's 40th birthday, and which I have so much video footage of that after party that now I've got to go back and look, but I'm scared to, because Kyle Cook was like hammered. I wonder if Kyle's reached out to Tom. But even then, I bumped into Raquel coming out of the bathroom, and it's just funny. Like I always like half the time, I'm like, do you even know who I am? Like, and that's an honest question. Like I'm always just like, does she just keep forgetting who I am? Like that I've spent like, but then she'll be like, oh, like then she'll act like guys, it's the weirdest experience. It's just like dead behind the eyes. I can't get a beat. Like, you know, Sheena will be like overly like laughy, and like Brock will be all like kind of trying to be inspirational, but like Raquel's just there. She's always just there, you know? And I think Raquel parties a lot though. Like take that for whatever you wanted to take it. But I remember hanging out with Raquel when she was with DJ James Kennedy. And it was so funny because DJ James Kennedy, I think this was when he was sober, but you know, I remember this was, where was it? Was this at the Abbey? And I remember they like had sections, like the group, like it was like DJ James Kennedy was holding court with like all these guys, and he was like, yeah, you know, blah, 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 blah. And Raquel was over here with like Jesse Montana and Logan. I have a picture with her and Logan from a long time ago, and I just thought it was so funny because I was like, they were just in separate universes. DJ James Kennedy was just like loudmouth talking, and she was over here, and like you wouldn't even tell that they were together. You know, it was just it's just weird. It's just a feeling I get. But the more now, I'm kind of like, yes, like she just doesn't fucking seem to get it. Like I don't know if she understands I don't know, you guys. I mean, I'll find out more and more, I'm sure. I mean, keep tuning in. I'll keep trying to give you as much as once I hear about. Jamie, do you think LVP's joking demeanor on Watch What Happens Live will have an effect on the way the rest of the cast handle this going forward? To me, it seemed like she was making light of it a lot more than I was expecting. Me too, Jamie. And even though I know that's a personality and she's always a joker, I was a little surprised by it. Then when I saw Schwartz's TMZ thing today, I felt like Maybe he was taking a cue from LVP's demeanor as a public-facing strategy, almost like the humorous front is intentional to cover up whatever it is he knew and doesn't want us to know. And am I thinking too deeply about this? You're not thinking too deeply about this, and I think there is some truth to that. I will say the Schwartz thing is that really is how Schwartz is. Like, I've had many, like, I remember walking from Zach Peter and Adam Newell's show that I was a part of, and they were a part of as well. And we walked over to the well for drinks. And I walked that whole way, I think, with Schwartz, and we were talking about mushrooms, and he's just really like that with everybody. Like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, okay. Like, you know, like he'll get into a conversation with anybody, and he's very nice. Like, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these people aren't outwardly dicks. Like, they're very nice people. They just seem to make horrible, horrible decisions that hurt people that they say they care about. But I think there is a strategy. I think that was a setup thing. Like I said earlier, I think LVP's joking demeanor was really kind of disgusting, and it kind of made me think, oh, maybe I am taking this too seriously. And then I thought, no, this truly is really horrible. But it also just showed, like I talked about earlier, where she just doesn't seem to really care about these people the way that we do and the way that they do. And I think a lot of them were probably pissed off about that as well. But I think that strategy of being nice and affable is like, you know, you can never go wrong with being nice. But I also think that is how Schwartz is. And I think there was a very set up staged element to that, but that really is how he would have probably answered that. And, you know, and I just think some of these people, they have to tell themselves things, like I said earlier, to keep to keep going, you know, like I just think at a point like Schwartz and Sandoval need to sit down and go, what? Like, we're not good people anymore, in a sense. Like, we seem to keep making horrible decisions, and Schwartz is just walking into another one in Winter House, because I all think he's such a doof that he will probably end up making out with somebody in the Winter House and probably make Joe sad. Kitty, broke my heart for Ariana, but I agree with LVP. This kind of crap has been going on for years. It also seems the majority of the cast has never liked It's true and knew he was a narcissist. Personally, I think he's a walking midlife crisis. My question to you, was there anything that you recall at Coachella that was odd behavior? Did Scummy and Dummy disappear for periods of time? Were you a decoy for their escapades? Yeah, I think I answered a little bit of this earlier. I didn't notice anything. But also I was having fun, enjoying myself, and we were all having fun together. Like, Tom was that like, I remember watching Harry Styles, and he'd like come up to each person and be like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, he was that guy, and you were like, hell yeah, we're having a great time. But yeah, a lot of people have, I think, known he's openly a narcissist for a while. I think Ariana, like I said, gave him a credibility that he didn't have before. And then you thought, wow, he's just in love with this girl, and he really wants to do these really weird side projects, and he has so much passion. And that's how I always looked at him. But if you go back and watch the show, and I've now seen so many clips that reminded myself of, like, he's had a lot of questionable behavior, like everybody in the show has. And LVP, yeah, this kind of crap. I mean, by the way, I also think probably there's a chance Lisa Vanderpump's cheated on Ken. Like, I honestly do. Like, I kind of was joking about Nicolene on Friday's episode. But I think, and I keep questioning that. It's like, should we just accept as a society that cheating is going to fully happen and just make it a thing? Like, I'm sorry, ladies, just accept that you're going to get cheated on. Just accept it. And, like, are we supposed to just excuse people? That's the part where I'm like, like, where do we go from here? Like, it just I don't know. KL says, did you go through any of the improv groups, Groundlings, Second City? I'm totally segueing here. Yeah, I went through Groundlings. I went to the Sunday Company. I did Upright Citizens Brigade. That's like such a world away. I was talking to Nicole Travolta the other day, who did her one-woman show at the Groundlings, and she's going through that program right now. It was one of the toughest programs. And by the way, I got to that final level. It takes you years, and that was when I was going through my separation and stuff like that. And I remember wanting to quit after the first week, and it was so tough, and I was sucking so bad, and I was like, I'm just gonna bail out. I don't have this in me. And it's one of my proudest moments is that I stayed in, and I got good, and I got really close, but I didn't make it in the end. And that was like such a multi-year journey to get to that point. But I will always. What a fabulous experience that Groundlings thing was for me, and especially at that time, as I got to be around people that I didn't know, that I became friends with. And it was so nice to have something to put all of your thought and like into writing sketches and trying to, and being around people that were really funny. And it was really hard, and it challenged me. Like, sometimes this challenges me, and it was just great. I mean, I mean, sometimes I hate improv, now, when I think about it, like going to how many improv shows I used to do and how they were just so hit or miss. It's like sometimes just the most painful thing, but like you have to suck really bad to get good, unfortunately. And with performing, it is unfortunate because you sometimes have to do it for people, and sometimes you have to do it for people that you're close with. You have to beg them to come to your show, and it sucks. I should go into that. I should go into more personal things at another time. Alex says, my biggest thing is the timeline. Did she hook up with Schwartz when banging Sandoval? And if so, I do believe she hooked up with Schwartz when she was banging Sandoval, yes. And if so, is she trying to also make him jealous, hooking up with other dudes? No, I think he was like, yeah, do it. Yeah, like I don't think he was jealous in that sense. But I think he was encouraging her to do it. Alex also says, and if he didn't know at time of the Schwartzy hookup, shouldn't Schwartz be super fucked up with them both for all of this? It's mental. Yeah, I think Tom does have a little bit of a card to play of like, Schwartz and Sandoval, remember, they are like really BFFs, but at the same time, there's a lot of downtime when the show isn't filming that they don't hang out. Like I remember in January when I did that interview with Sandoval, and I don't think this made the show, but they actually brought it up in the, it didn't make the pod, but they actually talked about it in the one of the first episodes of the season where he was telling me that Schwartz was pissed because he doesn't get back to Schwartz, in a timely manner and stuff. And he's just like, I have so much going on and blah, blah, and he was saying, cause that shocked me at the time to hear. Cause I always thought Sandoval was the one on top of everything. I always thought Schwartz was like, oh, he's just lazy and all that. And I think he is, but Sandoval told me, and I remember going away from that night being kind of shocked about that. I'm going like, weird. I thought like Sandoval would be always on top of everything. And he was telling me that he feels like he was in a way potentially letting Schwartz down because he wasn't doing everything in the time that it was needed. I think I'm paraphrasing a little bit of what I remember, but I remember that night going like, oh, that's weird. Cause you think they're glued at the hip, but in reality, these people have separate lives, even away from each other, that we don't really think about. But it is mental. All of it's mental, man. It's all mental. And then Alex goes, actually, no, the being friends with Ariana to her face and on camera is so wild. That's the other thing, too, is that Schwartz, like, fuck Schwartz, because Schwartz did know this for, as long as a month, maybe possibly more, and we'll probably find that out. But, like, he straight up, like, he protected his boy over Ariana, and he was close with our Ariana, and that's shitty, Where did you get this shirt? Yeah, Shop Wild World of AK. You can find their Instagram account. I don't know if she's selling these. She made me these. Hopefully she's selling them, but I fucking love this. RMF says, Ryan, how about a Succession recap? Let me recap the new episode of Succession. It's not out yet, so I can't, but I would love to. I would love to do a Succession recap. I can't wait for that show to come back. March 26th, you guys, and Yellow Jackets Season 2. I'm really hoping those shows solve everything in my life. Christina says, not sure if you have seen this, but there is someone on TikTok saying that she is a vet and she thinks the puncture wound Graham received was actually a dog bite and it could be from another Tom Sandoval's dog. So their other dog, what's their other dog's name? Miley May or something like that. I've been around both of their dogs, rest in peace to Charlotte. And there was not Miley May or Maggie May or whatever their dog's name. It was not aggressive in any sense. Who knows? You're going to say, but I will say though, and I've said this on the pod, that story was so weird to me because I'm like, well, are we suing this dog? Like, wait, how is it at a dog kennel and it's escaping? Like there's a fence to dig under? Like what dog like I said this, like I kept, and that goes to show you people, I've said this time and time again since Tom Girardi. It's like every time you think that you're seeing something weird or something that you question, just like, oh, that's weird. Look into it deeper. Because now that is weird to me, but I don't think but I think something's weird with that story. Like how the fuck is a dog going to get a puncture wound at a place that's supposed to protect dogs? How is there even a fence that you could dig underneath to escape? Like what? It doesn't make sense, and this is what sucks. When you actually do end up getting caught in these kind of lies, you don't put anything past these people, then you're like, well, shit, maybe it was, who knows? Shauna, what's the status of how Katie feels towards Sheena? I mean, I can't speak for Katie, but I will say Katie and Sheena, and if you heard Sheena on my podcast before all this broke, there was no love lost between them. I know they came together for International Women's Day, and they saw each other on the Friday when filming started back up again. And I'm sure you'll see Sheena do an apology to Katie. I just think these people aren't meant to be friends, Like, I think they'll be friendly, and I think this probably helped the anger subside for their personal things, but I think there is no love lost. And, Sheena really, Sheena went to bat for Rachel in a big way. And I know Sheena doesn't like to be made to feel dumb. And she feels like she spent a little bit of her credit, her goodwill that people have for her, and she spent that on Rachel, and she, really was wrong. Not it's not her fault, but she, is wrong. And Juliana Carrazza, who does the notes of Vanderpump Rules, she's awesome. Not a question, but a comment about LVP. She cared about what's going on, but she stayed light because she has to save it for the reunion. Hopefully, yeah. But I also think Lisa is kind of like that too. There's like this jokey nature where, and also like I've said for the past couple of seasons, recapping this show, is that like she doesn't. You don't need her on this show. Like sometimes, like the show's using her in a good way this season. But in the past, it would slow down to have to explain everything to Lisa. Lisa shouldn't be involved in this drama, and I think she has a more lighthearted look because she's not actively living their lives. She's not having to go to all these parties. She's not having to hang out with them on a daily basis, Lisa has her own full life. So she's really like the host of this show, if anything. But anyways, that's it, you guys. This is almost 2 hours long. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you so much. My voice hurts, and I still got to do the other pod for tomorrow with Soph. But I love you guys. Thank you so much. I hope this was okay. But yeah, just keep asking questions. I'll try to keep doing these for you guys and make these fun. And I just really appreciate you being here. And I know we're going into week 2 of this thing, and I know more stuff will be coming out. So I just want to get back to talking about other things too. And I know our attention is really into this. So it's going to be wild to like start kind of making that switch of like talking about the Oscars and talking about that, because listen, I'm even confused of wanting to put this mystery together. So we'll see. Okay. Have a great night, you guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.